Hello everybody and welcome! Today I'm excited to announce the winners to the giveaway for the Film Fatale promos that I released on the channel a few weeks ago. If you don't remember, these are the promos here. I'll open it up, you can see them. 3 cards here to supplement your Film Fatale with a little bit of swag. Just some kind of movie poster versions of the basically elite enemies, I believe. I haven't played the scenario, I don't really know. But it was pretty simple. All I had to ask was for people to give me a lead actor, a supporting actor, a villain, and then a title and a tagline for a movie, and I was going to choose some stuff here. In this contest, we received 85 entries, which was crazy. Thank you for all your entries. I appreciate it. I think it's really cool to have you guys, like, you know, to read your ideas and have fun chuckling at them. So thank you so much for everyone who entered and tried to win this contest. In this video, I have the top 12, as well as 2 winners chosen based on how funny or clever I found them. I have to also say that this was incredibly tough to do. You guys are very creative people. Like, it was insane some of the stuff that you guys came up with. Normally when I do one of these contests, I get through it pretty quick, and I can like cut it down to like a pretty easy like top 15. When I did my first cut of this, I was left with 34 entries to ones that I was like, these are the ones that are making me laugh and the ones that I really enjoy. Not that I didn't like enjoy all of them, but it's just like I have to like, you know, in order to kind of make a short list of the winners, I have to be like, okay, these are the ones that are like getting the most out of me, right? I think there, even though there were some that weren't part of this cut, it was, you know, it's like having to find the top and then go from there. But having to go from 34, I had to call a lot of ones that I really enjoyed. So this was a very tough one. It was very tough. You guys are all very funny and creative people. So if you did not make the top 10 or the top 12 with the 2 winners, just know that you were probably up there because there were a lot of really good entries into this. I had a great time making all of these fake movie posters. I didn't know, so when I like to do the giveaways here, I like to try to do something that's a little bit fun because this whole channel is trying to not take things so seriously. So even for our giveaways, I like to do something that's like just a little bit different or a little bit amusing. And I thought this was going to be a fun idea, but I also have to say I didn't realize how, I want to say like therapeutic it was for me in some ways. I'm a very creative person, and I actually had a very fun time creating these fake movie posters. I thought that it was going to be cute and there were going to be some good things, but I would make a lot of these posters and I would just like, as it says here, I scratched a creative itch that I haven't scratched in a while, and it was like, it was very calming and it just like centered me. So even just beyond your guys' support on this channel and for entering this contest, I'm happy to give away these cards, but I'm also happy that I was able to do this because it was a very fun time on the back end for me and all the work that went into it. So thank you for that. It was a blast. Like I would sit down and make a poster, and then I'd be like, yeah, I can make another poster. And that would happen like 5 times in a row, and I'd be like, wow, I'm almost like halfway done all of these. So it was a very, very fun time. I want to start by going our 10 honorable mention entries and then the 2 winners. These 10 honorable mentions are in no order. These are just as I put them in the slideshow here. So huge shout out to these 10 honorable mentions that deserved a movie poster from cutting this down from the full 85 entries. First one we got here was titled Ratatouille. This starred Brown Jenkins, Zoe Samaras, and another character that I took a little bit of creative liberty with some of these that they didn't fit on the poster, but it was supposed to, I believe, represent like the Chef Ego from this one. And the tagline for this one was Grandma Kezia's darkest recipes served straight to your plate. I thought that this one was just very simple. I think that, again, sometimes when it comes to coming up with something a little bit fun and creative, you just got to go with something obvious. And the idea of having Brown Jenkins be the Remy the Rat for Zoe Samaras, I thought was very simple and very fun. Obviously, just going with Ratatouille was a nice, simple concept, but what really sold this on for me was the tagline. I just think the tagline's really great, and I think it just makes an absolutely fantastic movie poster. So thank you so much for this entry. You'll notice the name of the person for the entry is included as the director on all that. So huge shout out to you. Thank you for your entry here. Next one we got here is the teaching staff. The students at Blackwater High always suspected their teachers were from another planet. They were right. So this film stars Amanda Sharp and Peter Sylvester, along with Susie, or Subject 5U21, as our villain here. This one I thought was just kind of, it reminded me a lot of like the Goosebump books or like the Fear Street books, and I thought that this one as a whole was just like really really, once again, just nice and simple and fun, but a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and it was exactly what I was wanting to do. What I think just like another thing that really got me for these was when it immediately just evoked an image in my head. So that was like another thing that I used to cut it down. If I was able to picture a poster in my head almost immediately because it just did such a good job of painting a picture, it really pushed it up there for me. I thought that this one was just like, again, the tagline is it's very pulpy, very fun, and it's almost like a kid's movie. Yeah, it's like Arkham Horror, but it's kind of silly and fun. I think also a very, very clever use of Susie holding the apple. I don't know if this was on purpose. I'm going to assume it was on purpose, but the idea that, you know, she's the teacher, she's holding the apple, I think was a very clever use here. So congratulations on making the honorable mentions. Next one we have here is Tarnished Silver. This is a tense drama starring Joe Diamond, Diana Stanley, and Carl Sanford. The hidden truths of Arkham will drive you insane. You know how there's like in the 90s, there was a lot of like those sexy thrillers? This kind of is the whole vibe here. Gave me some sort of like sexy thriller sort of aesthetic to it. So that's why I went with this. I based it on a movie poster that I actually don't know the movie poster off the top of my head. Let's see if it's not that one, but I have like this movie poster in my mind that I was like, okay, that's the one that I want to kind of riff on here with this one. If you haven't, that's the thing, I don't even know, I know the movie poster. It's kind of somewhat similar to this, so if you actually know what it is, let me know in the comments so I can actually put it. If I remember, I'll also put it in the comments. But again, this one evoked a feeling in me. I thought that this one is actually pretty simple, right? Joe Diamond, the private eye, Diana Stanley, the person inside the cult that he's investigating, Carl Sanford, the head of the cult. Very easy pitch here. The name, Tarnished Silver, fantastic sort of title, right? It paints a picture. You realize the Silver Twilight Lodge, it's not up to the standards and reputation that it actually is supposed to be once you find out the hidden truths, which works really well with the tagline. So overall, I think this is just a fantastic, was just a fantastic thing from top to bottom, and I really enjoyed the poster that I was riffing on. I think I did a pretty alright job here. So again, congratulations for making the honorable mentions. Next one we have here, this one's nice and simple. Dude, where's my weapon? This one stars baseball bat and old hunting rifle with the skull token as the villain. This one was really neat. I'm going to get to the tagline in a second because the tagline is incredible. Like it's very clever and very funny. But this one I thought was really neat because it was playing with the expectations of the contest, right? Where it was about a character from Arkham. You could choose any character, but they decided to go with some player cards. And then also, even deeper, with the skull token as the as the villain, really painted the perfect picture here. And of course, this one's a very good parody of Dude, Where's My Car? So I knew I had to riff on that poster instead of just like trying to do something else. This one I think I'm pretty proud of how it turned out for the poster. It's actually, if you look up the actual poster for Dude, Where's My Car? I did a pretty good job replicating it. Yes, I'm going to pat myself on my own back. But again, this was a very therapeutic, creative experience for me, and I reminded myself a lot that I still got some sauce in me when it comes to creativity. Now, let's get to the thing that really sold me on this entry, which was they're broke and in a jam. Absolutely incredibly clever on that tagline there. It's incredible. Like, that is a 10 out of 10 tagline. I just think that this was a fantastic entry, and thank you so much for putting it in here. What does the back of mine say? Sweet! What about mine? Dude! You know, I don't know what's on their back, but still. Next one we got here is Gone Fishing, starring Father Mateo, Olive McBride, and Deep One Bull as the villain. They thought they were fishing for an elder sign, they weren't ready for what's below. Nice and simple. Really just like a little pun with what's here with the Arkham stuff. Very evocative, right? Again, this was another one that as soon as I read this entry, I knew that I had to, like I knew what I was picturing in my head. The boat in the water, something lurking down below, kind of this like dark, gloomy atmosphere. So I think I did a pretty all right job getting that idea in my head. It wasn't perfect, it never is translating it from your head, but I think that this turned out really neat. Again, the pun of the Gone Fishing with Olive McBride fishing for the Elder Sign, I think that's just like a really simple thing to kind of riff on there. I also enjoyed grabbing the boat that's from Devil Reef here to put in this one. But yeah, I think this is just a nice, simple, fun, clever entry, and I had a lot of fun making this one. I think this was really nice to kind of put this one all together. Again, congratulations for your making it in the honorable mentions here. Our next movie poster we got is Home Alone 5, An Ankle to Bite. When the two-legged flame-spouting monsters invade his home, he has to pull every stop to squeak out a win. Again, it's Brown Jenkins is back. Another entry here. This one also had Nahab as the secondary cast, but I didn't include it in the poster, again, like the Ratatouille one, because it just worked better without it, but I still took the whole picture into perspective here. Mark Harrigan is our villain, the one with the flamethrower and the two-legged flame-spouting monster. Of course, in the art, he doesn't have the flamethrower, but he still has a gun that he's shooting. I think this one was a nice, simple, fun thing. I'll be honest, what really, really, really sold me on this one, that kind of just made it like actually stick, was the tagline, just he has to pull every stop to squeak out a win. Super cute. I just thought this one was a super cute entry, and I was a little bit, I will admit, a little bit of a sucker for the movie parody ones. We already saw Dude, Where's My Car, Ratatouille, and Home Alone 5. Not all the parodies made it in, I will say that. But again, there was like the movie parody I was a sucker for, but then additionally also the tagline just really got me on this one. And I really like this poster too. If you're watching this, let me know in the comments what your favorite poster were. Again, I get a ride the lightning of, like as I mentioned, incredibly clever entries for this. But I'm very proud of these posters, so I want to kind of like keep using them in the future because I think they're awesome. Our next one we have here. Okay, so this one was cool. This one was a cool entry. So this one it had some Japanese for crying for the title. And then it was with the subtitle, The Weeping Walls. And it starred Kohaku. Kohaku's partner, whose name is completely blanked from my mind suddenly. He's on the poster, though. As well as the Weeping Uri. And the tagline is just simply, "Can you hear her?" So I thought that this was this entry kind of just hooked me in. Because even though none of these movies are real, right? Like none of these are actual real films that are being made or will ever be made. But when I was going through the entries, a big part of this was still me trying to piece together the film and if I would be enthralled by the poster idea, right? Like if this movie would make me want to go see it. And this was like one of the entries that I found to be the most compelling. And I'm going to just say, I think I got the right Japanese characters here. If I didn't and it says like something else, my apologies, but I think I tried to just get this as cross as best I could with what I pictured when I read the entry. This was a very interesting poster to make. I'm going to go a little bit into this one because it kind of like, I wasn't feeling like it was coming together, but then I found like a color grade and like these weird effects that kind of make it look like ruined film, so it's also kind of like Fatal Frame-like, how I imagine the movie going. I thought that this was just a really clever entry, and I am very happy with how this one turned out. Again, it was just compelling, right? Just the weeping walls, can you hear her, the whole thing. I'm hyped to watch this film, and it's not even freaking real. So congratulations on making the top 10. Next one we got here is Honey, I Shrunk Skids. Starring Skids O'Toole, Daisy Walker, a swarm of rats. 2 inches tall, a lifetime of trouble, and now Radzilla is on his tail. So this was kind of a combination of everything, right? This was a movie parody, which as I already told you I was a bit of a sucker for. Number 2, it was a very incredibly funny play on it. Because this is based on the movie, if you grew up in the 90s, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But this one is just Honey, I Shrunk Skids. Very funny, very clever. I thought that this one I immediately had in my mind what I was going to do. I was going to base this on a loose parody of the actual the actual posters for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But then I was like, yeah, but what if, like, Skids O'Toole is, like magnified and looks funny in a magnifying glass, and the whole thing kind of just, like, came together, and I was like, I need to put this one in here. This is the one that's really, really in my mind, and I need to put it on here. I like the tagline, but I think it's more the title and the just the pun just really worked for me for this one. So congratulations, and let's see what our next one is. This one, like the Weeping Walls, it really just, I was very compelled by it. I liked the one, as I said, I liked the parody ones, but I also really enjoyed these like original films that came with like Tarnished Silver and like Gone Fishing, right? I really liked those. But this one I thought was really neat. So this is The Dissonant Melody, starring Patrice Hathaway, Jim Culver, and the organist from Pat the Carcosa. And the tagline is, sometimes it's about the notes you don't play. Again, this one, it kind of just immediately was like, okay, I need to do this poster. And as I said, when there was the funny ones, but there was also the ones that I thought were very clever or very engaging, that really like got me on this. I thought that this whole thing was very, I don't know, it kind of like, I don't know, it just feels like a fun little like horror movie. I feel like this poster, it would be produced by Blumhouse. So unfortunately the movie probably wouldn't be like very good, but it would be like enjoyable. Like a good popcorn film to watch with friends. But I thought like the whole thing was a very fun pitch, and I think that this is a really cool entry. So congrats on that. And let's see, I think this is our last one we have here. This one blew my mind. I thought this was incredibly clever. So this one stars Charlie Vampire as a vampire. Sorry, Charlie Kane. Did I say Charlie Vampire? Charlie Kane as a vampire. And it's called Kane 2, The Hunted. Tonight, the hunter shall become the hunted. This also is featuring Bonnie Walsh as his thrall. And then instead of just having one villain, he had something called the God Squad in this one, which was featuring Father Mateo, Zoe Samaras, and Sister Mary. This one I thought was really neat because it was, obviously this is such a PBG in-joke. If you don't know, Charlie Kane on PBG for the long time was called Vampire Hunter. Charlie Kane Vampire Hunter, that's what it was. One of our old giveaways that we did back in the day was for, you had to design a Charlie Kane, and some of people made Vampire Hunter ones. It's just something that we've had in Charlie Kane as like an in-joke on the channel for ages, right? When I saw this as like, when I saw Charlie Kane as a vampire when I was reading through the submission, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. And then I got to Kane 2, The Hunted, and I was like, okay, so it's a sequel to a fake Charlie Kane movie that never existed, right? And then it was like, The Hunted, tonight the hunter shall become the hunted. And I'm like, okay, you got me. This was really neat. I thought that this was just a very fun, clever idea. And honestly, this one is a personal thank you for making this one, because it's really cool to see this dumbass joke that we made still have some legs. So yeah. All right, those were our 10 honorable mentions, and we're gonna now go into our 2 winners here. These ones, it was hard to say when I was doing all this. There were just I went through all of them, and I had 3 that I was like, I knew that these 3 were gonna be in the top 3. I'm not gonna say what the third one is, but I'm going to say that these 2 were the 2 that of the 3 I just knew were my winners. It's hard, again, because this is a giveaway that's entirely based on my own opinions and judgments and biases and like all of that kind of things. it's not really like there's no like conditions for it. So I can't really explain it. I'm going to try to do it when I see the posters here, but this was all just like my gut. But these are my 2 winners. So let's go with our first one here. This one is called Identity Theft, an unexpected love story starring Lola Hayes, stubborn detective, and handcuffs. This one got me because I think this was a very, like, this is like the Dude, Where's My Weapon? I think this was a really cool marriage of the contest along with the idea of taking what Arkham Horror the card game is. It was able to take some mechanical identity from the game and turn it into an entry here. So like with Dude, Where's My Weapon, the skull tokens and the jamming and the breaking baseball bat, this took the idea of Lola Hayes handcuffing a stubborn detective to make it so that she no longer needs to follow her identity, right? She can just, her identity was literally stolen, so now she doesn't need to actually make that, she doesn't need to play the traditional way anymore. And it was just like the unexpected love story of just having your basic weakness in your deck become a positive. I thought was just very, very clever. What also pushed this one for me is that as soon as I knew that this was one of them, because of just how it hit me, I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing. If you're a bit of a movie nerd like I am, you'll recognize this poster as basically an entire, like, I just basically stole it. It's like a copy of the Something Wild Criterion cover. And as soon as I knew that this one was the one for me, I knew that that was the cover that I wanted to make. But I think I just can't stress enough about how clever I found this one as marrying the mechanics of the game with the theming of the contest. So congratulations, Eric, as one of our 2 winners here. You will receive an email from me in a few hours getting information for your mailing out your promos. Our other winner here, Alas Poor Yorick. They wanted the part. He got it instead. Now these 2 are going to bury the lead. So, this one I thought was just schlocky. I'm like, this is a B movie. This is a B movie that came out like in the 80s. And it was going to be like, the tagline sold me on it, right? That this was going to just be like one of those bad movies in the 70s or the 80s. And I was like, I saw the poster immediately. So this one stars Will Yorick and Henry Wan as the 2 leads, the 2 bad guys that we're following, because the Catacombs docent, our villain, who is really the good guy in this, because he just got a movie part, a play part, and they're going to try to kill him throughout this whole movie. There was a lot of things that I think also just really resonated with this one for me that kind of pushed it into, as I mentioned, how I knew I wanted this one to be it almost immediately, was the clever use of Catacombs docent with the skull. Because like that's just, it's like a reference to Hamlet, right? And Yorick is the failed thespian, the theater actor, and his name is Yorick as a reference to that, and like the talking skull scene from Hamlet. It was literally just like a very, like a perfect storm of references and creativity, and I immediately knew what I wanted to do with it when I saw it, that this was just, for me, an easy one of the 2 winners. So congratulations, and I will also be emailing you. I don't know if I'm going to, like, maybe I might find a place to post all these posters, like maybe in our Discord, I'll put them all up, find a place for them. But again, I love these posters, and I love you guys all for entering this. I had such a great time. So, congrats again to our winners, and thanks to everyone for participating. Again, if you won, keep your eyes open for an email that'll be coming your way in a few hours after this video goes live. I will be reaching out to you. And just a huge thank you to anyone who entered. Again, if you were one of the entries and you want to get a copy of your poster, like in a high image thing that I can send to you, you can leave me a comment in the video, and you just tell me what your poster is, and I'll send you an email to reach out. I don't want to send out an email without like any sort of consent, because as part of the rules for this contest, I made there was a statement that I'll only email the winners. But if you do want your poster, let me know in the comments. I will email it to you. In the meantime, thanks for everybody for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed those posters as much as I did. In the meantime, thank you all for being you. You guys are great, and you continue to prove why the Arkham fan base is just impossibly creative, cool, and fun. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, and as always, a GG's.